While this was a very fascinating FPO event, it just didn't quite captivate me in the same way that MPO did for obvious reasons. So much crazy stuff going on. But for FPO, there still was a good amount of crazy things happening, so let's get into it. So I have to say there was a couple players that really stood out as dominant players, but just couldn't quite finish and had some pretty big blow up holes. And you just kind of knew that even though they were destroying the easier sunset layout, they just probably weren't going to get the win because there's so much room for bogeys and errors when you're playing Northwoods Black. And that was very much the case with Holland Handley. With 2 doubles in round 4 and 4 bogeys, and 2 doubles in round 1 and 3 bogeys in round 1, there was just no way that she was going to climb back on top, even though she was playing some of the best golf that you can possibly play on the Sunset course. And with a near ace and hot round in round 2, Holland Handley definitely has a great skill set to build off of, but I would love to see a more complete game for her because we know that she's capable of getting a win. It just has not been able to occur yet. And along with Holland, there's definitely another player in mind, and that is Maria Oliva. While she definitely was not quite struggling nearly as much at Northwood Black, she was struggling at a couple of holes on Sunset Hills. And one hole in particular really did her dirty with a birdie look turned triple on hole 9 in round 2. I'm very bummed that this was the case because she was playing nearly the hottest round that we've seen in the entire tournament, so it was looking like she was going to have a potential to fight for the win and take down Missy, but she misses, goes into the water, misses her comeback putt, and it is kind of just a done deal from there because there was such great golf happening with everyone else that you really could not fight back. So top 4, we got Missy, Owen, Ella, and Hokum. And for Sarah, I have to say her skill set was just playing consistently good golf, not doing anything crazy, but also finding a way to nearly get like 3 throw-ins. I don't really know how she was able to get this so consistently, but something about these courses really line up well for her game, and she was able to get a 3rd place finish with a good all-around tournament. Next, it was definitely the player of what could have been, Ella Hansen. She definitely had so many good putts, so many good drives. She was playing probably the best disc golf out of everybody in the entire tournament, but you get a couple blow-up holes and that kind of did her in. But with her extreme level of consistency outside of those blow-up holes, I think her real skill set right now is getting her drives up to the basket or close to on her first shot at a point where no one else could even really get close. There was so many chances at Northwood where she was just jamming in good drives, and there's basically no one else that has the power or the accuracy. So a great showcase from her, but ultimately still falling quite a bit short of the win. But all in all, still a great showcase from Ella, and I'm so excited to see the growth and potential that she still has because we know she obviously could have won Waco, but looking at this more evolved version of her, she clearly has a lot more going on in her game than what was previously thought. And if you are able to demonstrate your skills through 4 rounds, then I definitely think this is no anomaly. And although her putting from circle 1 was pretty good, the real downside of her game that I know she is capable of would be the circle 2 putts. She was just not able to make much of anything, and that really hindered her ability to get more strokes on the field. And speaking of circle 2 strokes, yeah, Own the dog Scoggins. Own obviously plays lights out at every tournament, so it's no surprise that she was fighting for the win at this one. But in much the same way as players before, she has a very good rounded game, but just had a few blow-up holes that pretty much you just cannot have if you're fighting for a win like this. And especially in round 1, hole 14, taking a triple against the field. And then in round 3, she just was not getting a whole lot of traction, ultimately getting 7 strokes worse than her second round. And even though the conditions were significantly worse in third round, I'd love to see a more consistent play from Owen in these abnormal conditions. But 2 major good things that came out of this would be her final round, last 6 holes when she absolutely needed to be fighting for a win. She was able to get 4 at the last 6 holes for birdie, putting her in a much closer place for the win. Still was not that close to getting the win, but a much more striking chance of it. But the most amazing stat that was not really revolving around a win was Owen's putting in round 2. My goodness, she could not figure out how to miss a putt. 100% circle 1, but you know, that's kind of what Owen does. She went 100% in 3 rounds. Madness. But no, we're not talking about circle 1 percentage. We are talking about circle 2, 67%. You might be thinking, okay, yeah, she had like 3, cool, whatever. No, you are missing her circle 2 putts. She has a 49 footer on hole 2, a 60 footer on hole 2, a 60 footer on hole 5, a 66-foot throw-in on hole 7, another 66-foot throw-in on hole 12, and a boring old 38-footer on hole 16. So yes, Owen was not necessarily fighting for the win, but she was giving it her all by making abnormally insane putts that I do not think any FPO player has really done that much in any recent history. And yes, you could argue that the reason that she is having to make these putts is that she has fairway drives that are not that close to the basket. I mean, sure, yeah, that is a factor. But the ability to make these putts when they absolutely matter most in a 4-round event, she is totally outmatching everyone else in the field when it comes to Circle 2 putts. And I cannot believe how monstrous her ability to gain strokes from Circle 2 is, because it is just totally absurd how much consistency she can find from her Circle 2 putts. But now on to the champ, Missy Gannon. And while we definitely did foresee this to be the case because we know Paige is out, Kristin's out, Missy Gannon is kind of the GOAT here, winning last year. We didn't necessarily expect it to be in this fashion. Starting off the entire tournament with a park job on one of the hardest holes in the entire tournament, you kind of know that, yeah, it's gonna be a Missy win. We just know it. And the gist of her tournament was just straight up consistency. She had very few shots that you were like, wow, that's insane. There was no crazy Circle 2 putts that were more than what we would expect a Missy Gannon win to look like, which is still kind of outrageous because she did make a 60-footer and 2 50-footers. So the basis of her win was just a lot of good fairway hits, getting right to the basket or within Circle 1, jamming that putt, moving on to the next hole. And while she is definitely not own level of Circle 2 putts, her Circle 1 was very good with 83%, which included a 100% Circle 1 in round 2. So we can definitely say that Missy is one of the greatest players in the field right now, but there is just that major factor that has to loom over everybody and her probably, that if Kristin were to play here, if Paige were to play here, less so Paige, but if Kristin was here, would Missy have gotten the win? Honestly, I'm thinking no. I think the level of play this weekend, while it was good, there was just a lot more bogeys, out of bounds, missed putts that Kristin at her current level would not have missed. And so for that, I think Missy gets a great win. It feels like a major. Elite Plus still has that kind of weird moment where it's like a 4-round tournament feels like a major, but it's not a major. So it feels like a major win, but in much the same way as an event where Paul wasn't there and somebody wins, you just have to question it. And honestly, it's probably more so when Kristin isn't in the field. So with this amazing win, I'm very excited for Missy, but I also wonder what Worlds will look like because I kind of just really doubt that it will be a Missy win. I think this will definitely be a Kristin domination like it has been for the rest of the season. But with that said, still a phenomenal win for Missy, and it shows that her consistently good putts, good drives, and good all-around game are really what you need to get a win nowadays. And while it does seem to almost not even matter if Kristin is in the field, it still shows that if you subtract her, then getting a great all-around tournament will net you a win. So with that said, what do you guys think about FPO? Were you surprised by the back-to-back victory? Probably not, but let me know if you were, and let me know what you guys think about who will be taking down Worlds. I have a lot of thoughts. I obviously have a lot of thoughts, but I'd love to hear what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Wild Runs, signing out. Peace.
But I kind of felt like this was the chance to do it. These are the courses that I play so well on, and I feel so comfortable here. And I'm just so happy to have been able to accomplish.